Hello, friends. It's Sam Chaney reporting for Weaponized News. Today is May 19th, 2026. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday edition of Weaponized News. We have quite a bit to get to today on day 81 of the Iran war. Where do we start today? Trump touting his ballroom. Apparently, he's now got himself and his family an exemption from IRS audits. Well, I'm not against that. We need to abolish the IRS, and individual income tax is theft. So we'll get to all those details. We're going to take a look at what's going on in the Iran war a little bit. Trump seems bored by the Iran war. We're still in a war with Iran. We got a little bit of public health news. We have some CIA weaponizing modern art news and handsome profiteering there. We're going to take a look at the Massey race there in Kentucky. Maybe we'll get some results out of it. Let's see. Where are we at here? They called it. So we'll get to that. Looks like they called it. The DOJ's cranking up anti-Septicism task force. We're going to take a look at that. We got geopolitical news, economic news, Epstein news, and of course, the genocide in Gaza continues, and they're leveling Lebanon, and that project continues. Cover all that and much more on this Tuesday edition of Weaponized News. Thank you for joining us. Shout out to Ruckus in the YouTube. All right. We don't have that much in November over there. What do they say? Person turquoise waving, face blue smiling. Is that some kind of secret code? We may be using secret codes here. We may just have to learn a new language because apparently English is offensive to those out there, and so we have to speak in code to not be censored. I mean, I'm not even trying to offend anybody, not spreading any hate, just saying, hey, it's my right to not agree with this insanity, dystopian reality they're creating around us. I have some rights in all this too, you know? And so do you out there in the audience, and it's your right too to say we don't agree with this insanity. And we're not bad for exercising our rights. All right, let's get to this day in history. We don't have that many significant events, really. Let me blast through this. On this day of May 19th, we go to the year 1828 on this day. We saw U.S. President at the time, John Quincy Adams, signs the Tariff of 1828, Tariff on Abominations into law to protect industry in the North, part of prepping for the American Civil War. On this day in 1883, William F. quote, Buffalo Bill Cody opens Buffalo Bill's Wild West show in Omaha, Nebraska. On this day, 1883, 1885, on this day, 1885, we saw the first mass production of shoes by a Lasting Machine Company in Lynn, Massachusetts. On this day in 1913, probably the worst year in American history, 1913. We got a whole lot of tyranny out of 1913. But on this day in 1913, a Webb-Allen landholding bill passes, forbidding Japanese from owning land. In 1928, on this day, we saw 51 frogs enter the first annual frog jumping jubilee in Angels Camp, California. Quite an event there. 1952, on this day, Thesis, Time magazine features Thesis, an electrical learning machine built by American scientist Claude Shannon, as the first example of artificial intelligence. On this day in 1954, Postmaster General Summerfield approved CIA mail opening project. They've been spying on it, like I keep saying, man. They've been spying on it since the freaking telegraph, and before that, they would have somebody sneaking around trying to spy on you, man. So they want to know everything we're doing, and everything they're doing is national security and secret. So just to let you know what kind of tyranny we're under and have been under for an extremely long time in this country. On this day in 1962, Marilyn Monroe, many say she's a MK Ultra sex slave, part of MK Ultra Monarch program. On this day, Marilyn Monroe in 1962 sings "Happy Birthday, Mr. President" to JFK before 15,000 attendees at Madison Square Garden. And again, many say that Marilyn Monroe is a MK Ultra mind control slave. On this day in 1964, U.S. diplomats find at least 40 secret microphones in Moscow embassy. Shocking, I know there. And on this day in 2021, New York City begins reopening after 423 days. They shut everything down in March of 2020 for the bats. And they say the bat death toll in New York City, you guessed it, 33,000 with their 33 columns. And on this day in our civil liberties history, in 1961, Supreme Court rules Sunday, quote, blue laws constitutional. Blue laws, or Sunday closing laws, are statutes that prohibit commercial businesses from operating on Sunday or other religious holidays. In McGowan versus Maryland, decided on this day, the Supreme Court declined to ban such laws as violating the Establishment of Religion Clause of the First Amendment. And here's our segue to the news. Maybe some good news here. God knows we need it. Ex-Google CEO Eric Schmidt is booed by University of Arizona graduates while urging them to embrace AI in his recent appearance at their commencement. Here's our segue to the news. So maybe some good news that, we don't want all this AI and the data centers rammed down our throat and technocracy, and to fulfill the prophecy of the documentary Terminator. We don't want any of this.
Last December, Time magazine selected its Person of the Year for 2025. And this time, it was the architects of artificial intelligence. Interesting. It will touch every profession, every classroom, every hospital, every laboratory, every person, and every relationship you have. I know what many of you are feeling about that. I can hear you. There is a fear. We do not know the precise contours of what this transformation will look like. Choose a diversity of perspectives, including, let me add, and if you'd let me make this point, please. If you don't care about science, that's okay, because AI is going to touch everything else as well. Whatever path you choose, AI will become part of how work is done. If you have a problem in the world you want to solve, you can now assemble a team of AI agents to help you with the parts that you could never accomplish on your own. Let me give you some advice. First, find a way to say yes. And thank you very much and good night.
Find a way to say yes. Everything's gamed, rigged already. Now let AI lie to us and have these technocrats control everything. Major pushback against AI. Here's Gavin Newsom. It's looking like he's the Democrat frontrunner for 2028 here now. And he's a criminal scumbag just like Trump. So there you go. We have no choice at all in American democracy. So they're going to run what? They're floating, the Republicans are floating Rubio and J.D. Vance. And then Democrats, Newsom, and maybe some other clowns. There is no choice. They're all criminals. Like, I don't know what it takes to get this through people's head. Here's Newsom.
Come on, what evidence, honestly, is there of what we're about to face? We've got to wake up to this new reality. So we have to be, dare I say it, I'm sorry, Democrats, that we have to be as ruthless as our opposition. We do. We have to win. It's all on the line. You just got to win. I'm done winning arguments. With all due respect to the niceties, it feels good, but we're going to lose our republic. Come on.
Gavin Newsom cares about the American Republic. Here's clown Trump at his stupid ballroom, which is really a bunker. And so they're going to, it looks like they're going to get us bombed. And then they're all going to be in their bunker and leave us hung out here to dry. And that's what looks like is going to happen here now with this whole ballroom situation. America may be able to even stop the big bombs coming from Russia, China, and God knows where else. But they'll stand down. They'll be in their bunker, and they'll try to wipe out as many of us as possible here now.
There will never be another thing like this. I don't believe it, Bill, from a cost standpoint. This is all my money and donors' money. This is tax-free. So when we're talking about they're going to give money, they're going to give money. The money they're going to give is really for the security of that and the whole White House premises. And I guess you probably need that nowadays. We've done the fencing on the outside of the White House. It's all titanium. You see the black fencing. That's been just done recently. And it was approved originally by me, and it's been completed, and it's very powerful. Very powerful. The tractor, a bulldozer cannot knock it over. It goes down deep, and it's
titanium enforced steel bunker there for the criminals. The White House posted this: nothing like this will ever be built again. Trump gives the press a look at the White House ballroom construction project built by his personal and private donations. There you go. They streamed it how long? 44 minutes. 44 minutes of Trump talking up his ballroom, the White House posted. I'll spare you on that. Here's J.D. Vance, Mr. Technocracy, Mr. Fraud himself, the fraud czar. He says that, well, I'll play you the clip. He admits that he doesn't understand Iran, but allegedly he's the lead negotiator here in trying to bring about peace with Iran.
The White House is negotiating with Iran in good faith. I think Americans tend to believe that, but what is it about the Iranian side that you personally have seen where you believe that they are negotiating with us in good faith?
Well, first of all, I'd say it's a very complicated country, and it's a country that I wouldn't pretend that I understand even after as deep as I've been involved in this process from the very beginning. It's a great and proud civilization, amazing people. We obviously have a great Iranian.
Dude, we started a major war with Iran, and that's the vice president of America saying he didn't even understand. Dude. So everybody's fingers on the trigger. Report out of CAN News. U.S. and Aardvark land appear fully coordinated and prepared for a possible renewed campaign against Iran, with Trump expected to make a decision soon. Trump's hemming and hawing, trying to figure out how he can profiteer more off of this. Aardvark land is on extremely high alert, fearing either escalation or a preemptive Iranian strike. They'll false flag themselves and say it was Iran. Or Iran may do it. Who freaking knows at this point? They're so crazy. Anything's possible here now. We are not going to have a deal that allows the Iranians to have a nuclear weapon. Let's hear from J.D. Vance. The same old propaganda and lies. We've already debunked it up one side and down the other here at Weaponized News. It's getting tiresome already. And I think that's part of the plan, is they just wear you down with the never-ending propaganda and lies after it's already been thoroughly debunked. Every reporter at this press conference should literally laugh them out of the room, but they're all in on the game too, you see.
Has told us to aggressively negotiate with the Iranians. Why did I go to Islamabad, Pakistan? Why did I spend, I think, probably 22 hours on a plane going there, 24 hours coming back, and then 21 hours on the ground negotiating with the Iranians? Is because we wanted to show a sign of good faith. The Vice President of the United States is willing to cut a deal.
It's hilarious. We wanted to show a sign of good faith. Every time they try to negotiate peace, they whack the negotiators. It's just, man.
So long as the Iranians are willing to meet us again on that core issue of never having a nuclear weapon. We think that we've been...
Again, that's been thoroughly debunked by U.S. intelligence and by the friggin' State Department, but they continue. It's frustrating, to say the least, here at Weaponized News for me, and I know it is for our audience and those that are informed on such matters.
Made a lot of progress. We think the Iranians want to make a deal. The President of the United States has asked us to negotiate in good faith, and that's exactly what we've done. So we're in a pretty good spot.
It's hilarious. I can't even take anymore. Negotiating good faith. It's laughable. It's sad. It's tragic. And it's also laughable at this point. They're not negotiating good faith whatsoever. Here's Trump. What does he say? He said, Trump says he's giving Iran a, quote, limited period of time to make a deal because we can't let them have a nuclear weapon. And again, Trump admitted himself, that's PR spin and propaganda, but it continues here now. There's no question in my mind that they'd use it. Who's the only country to ever allegedly use an atomic bomb? That would be America. They're extremely radicalized, Trump says. Well, you whacked their supreme leader, whacked a bunch of their top dudes, killed a bunch of their women and children. Yeah, they are radicalized, and they're handing out AK-47s to the population waiting for us. So yeah, you've done a great job there. You and the Aardvarks radicalizing Iran. Good job. And here's Trump dicking around again, running. It's a never-ending con, okay? It's a never-ending con for this criminal known as President of America. Trump says that he will give Iran 2 to 3 days, maybe early next week, before taking additional military action. You literally can't believe a word he says. So they're planning military action right now as he's saying this.
For Iran to come to
Well, I mean, I'm saying 2 or 3 days, maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something, maybe early next week. A limited
I got to cook up some more schemes to profiteer off of all this. Translation there for MAGA is what he's actually saying.
period of time. Because we can't let them have a nuclear weapon. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would start with Israel. They would blow it up. And they would blow it up fast. But they'd blow it up. And I'll tell you what, they go after Saudi Arabia. They go after Kuwait. They go after UAE. They go after Qatar. They go after, I think they go after the entire Middle East. And it would be a whole different negotiation. It would not be, it would be nuclear holocaust. And there's no question.
I'm just not buying it. Simply not buying it. As it says in the Constitution, we're police of the Strait of Hormuz, apparently. U.S. Central Command posted a few hours ago. U.S. CENTCOM says CENTCOM forces continue to enforce the enforcement of the U.S. blockade against Iran, stopping the flow of commerce into and out of Iranian ports. 89 commercial vessels have been redirected to ensure compliance. Brad Cooper, commander of Central Command, said, "I testify today on behalf of the brave servicemen and women deployed to Central Region. It's a great life honor and privilege to serve as their commander." American military action derailed Iran's strategy that was 47 years in the making. So who knew? But we've been at war with Iran for 47 years, apparently. It's been even longer than that, since 1953, right? But they just want to take it back 47 years here now. What else does he say? We are committed to the law of armed conflict. The United States does not target civilians. They did a ritualistic blood sacrifice to kick off this whole war by blowing up that girls' school and a playground park next to it as well, to radicalize the Iranians. And so they continue. That's all they do, is target civilians, in large part here now. Here you go. We take all civilian casualty reports seriously. This is now part of our culture. So I guess everything you could say, everything they say, just flip it. And yeah, I guess we target civilians. Here's old Purnell. They put out a big old meme about it. Sean Purnell, propagandist out of the Department of War. He says those who hurt Americans plan to hurt Americans or concoct despicable plots to harm innocent Christians. The United States will find you and kill you. Wow. We reported on that yesterday, but they made this fancy meme out of the Department of War. They want you to know. I like how they throw in to harm innocent Christians. They're literally just making up bullshit. They don't give a damn about innocent Christians. Or they'd say, Aardvark land, stop your annexation there of the occupied West Bank and Jerusalem. They love it. You see? Mediators say U.S.-Iran talks have made little progress, with both sides still very far apart. Iran continues demanding an end to hostilities, financial relief, and a role in the Strait of Hormuz, while rejecting key U.S. demands to shut down or suspend its nuclear program, according to a report of the Wall Street Journal. Iran's foreign minister, Odysee, said, "Our powerful armed forces are confirmed as first to strike down a touted F-35. With lessons learned, knowledge we gained, return to war will feature many more surprises." So Iran does some taunting back. They do some taunting back here now. That's where we're at. Stalemate. Khomeini is the leader of Iran, and the Strait of Hormuz is effectively closed. We're in a Persian standoff here now on day 81 of the Iran war. Trump failed to persuade the Chinese President Xi to mediate a peace deal between the United States and Iran. That's according to a report out of Foreign Policy magazine. It's pretty bad when even the CFR turns on you. Yeah, pretty bad. Aardvark Heyman reports that Iran has prepared a plan to launch a massive missile operation if war resumes. Iran is preparing for a short and intense operation that will involve firing tens of thousands of missiles daily. Additionally, if Iran feels its control over the Strait of Hormuz is threatened, it could order the Houthis back into action as well. In the Persian standoff, we'll have more on this in the geopolitical section of the show. On to public health now. Susie Wiles has created an X account. Now she's gone out there publicly. Trump's chief of staff there, undermining all the legitimate Maha and MAGA grievances to serve the government, special interest, and the grift. And so she says, I've watched firsthand how focused this team is on making life more affordable for Americans. It's record high gas prices. Like, what are these people? They are disconnected. They're in their own elitist bubbles. They don't go do their own grocery shopping. They don't go pump their own gas. They're not normal Americans. They're elitist in their own bubbles here now. As of today, TrumpRx.gov, Trump wants to be the #1 drug dealer in America. Don't do drugs, kids. Has already saved Americans more than $400 million, and we've added 600 more medications to the program. Our president is demanding transparency on choice, which helps to bring economic freedom. TrumpRx.gov.
President Trump is rolling out a new effort on the federal website that's promising to save Americans money on prescriptions. Today, the administration announced that TrumpRx.gov will now offer discounts on more than 600 generic drugs. Officials say the pricing is based on negotiated rates with drug companies with the goal of making medications more affordable and easier to access.
People are saving a lot of money over the next 10 years. The Council of Economic.
Don't do their drugs, kids. Don't do their drugs. Here's Dr. Oz inviting, oh, by the way, he invited Epstein to a Valentine's Day party. So Dr. Oz says TrumpRx.gov is your government's gift to you. Don't walk, run from TrumpRx.gov.
And so think of TrumpRx.gov like a transparency site. We're going to put as many drugs as possible on the platform, using as many partners as possible. We don't make any money on TrumpRx.gov. It's your government's present to you. All we ask is that you check the prices on TrumpRx.gov before you fulfill a prescription anywhere in the country, because a lot of times the better prices will be available on the website. You can get a coupon. You could have it shipped to you. There's lots of solutions. It was built by a wonderful team in National Design Studio. The head of that studio, Joe Gebbia, actually founded Airbnb. And Corstine, a great team of technology experts, has crafted this for the American people. And now more than half of all the prescription interactions in America will have options available at Trump.
They never say, hey, maybe don't do their drugs. Don't do the Rockefeller medicine. They never say that. Peer-reviewed paper says genetically engineered ticks to spread meat allergies is morally obligatory. Western Michigan professors claim that CRISPR-edited ticks could be used to spread alpha-gal syndrome as moral bioenhancement to force humans away from eating meat. This sounds like bioterrorism dressed up as bioethics. CDC estimates that as many as 450,000 people in the United States may be affected by alpha-gal syndrome. That's making you allergic to meat. That's where we're at. And where did Lyme disease come from? Well, I posted it on the X, and I'll put it in the links in the description in this video. But way back, I believe this was 2007, 2006, back when we still had local independent media in this country that would actually do investigative reports. Anyhow, going back to 2007, 6, Long Island TV station VVH TV interviewed lawyer Michael Christopher Carroll about his book Lab 257, where he details in there how they're engineering bioweapons on Plum Island with the help of Nazi scientists via Operation Paperclip. And he goes into great detail there in this interview, and of course, obviously in his book. And so I do have that interview posted on the X. It's very rare, and so I'd advise people to go take a look at that, and so you can get an idea about what all they cooked up over there on Plum Island. Weaponized Lyme disease. All right, we're moving fast through the news. I like it. We're getting through all this information. Modern art was a CIA weapon. That's when was this posted? 1995 by UK Independent. Modern art was a CIA weapon. And they go through here and they say, yeah, it was a big joke, but yeah, it turns out it's actually a fact. The Central Intelligence Agency used American modern art, including the works of such artists as Jackson Pollock, Robert Motherwell, Wilhelm de Kooning, and Mark Rothko, as a weapon in the Cold War in the manner of a Renaissance prince, except that it acted secretly. The CIA fostered and promoted American abstract expressionism painting around the world for more than 20 years. And then the reason I bring that up is this story today in the failing New York Times. Pollock and Bransky join the $100 million club at auction. And so it turns out that these paint splatters are, a subversion method that the CIA launched on America and the rest of the world and said, this is art now. And so it's demoralization, and it's been weaponized against us. Now they're selling it for $100 million. And all this high society art, $100 million paintings, in large part is money laundering and tax evasion for the elite out there. And this is just rubbing in our face. Yeah, these paint splatters are now worth $100 million. Well, this whole project is CIA weaponized art. Truly disgusting what they've done to our culture and society. So it turns out, looks like old Ed Galrain has won. Looks like he has won. They've called it here in the Courier Journal. The Courier Journal has called it there. U.S. House District 4 Republican primary, Ed Gallerine has defeated Thomas Massie in the Kentucky Republican primary, the most money ever spent, more than $30 million spent there. And so I guess that goes to show that you can, and they have, bought democracy there with, in large part, with aardvark lobbying firms. And so I had a whole section set up, but the race has already been called here about the back and forth. Here's ZBS News says old Massey's an antiseptic. It's just so tiresome at this point. But hey, they're just getting started. Okay, they're just getting started.
Yeah. In this congressional district, which is now the most expensive House primary ever in the United States. Is it worth it?
You'd have to ask Miriam Adelson on May 20th if it was worth it. Because, you know, they tried to buy my vote for 14 years and it was never for sale. Now they're trying to buy a seat here in Kentucky. I think they underestimated the reserve price of my constituents. They waded into this. They thought they could buy this seat with a couple million. That didn't work. And now they're throwing good money after bad. The thing that surprised me is how much money we've been able to raise. I don't have 3 billionaires who want to just throw their money away. I've got the grassroots, tens of thousands of donations. Average donation for me is about $80. And we've been able to go toe to toe. A lot of that 32 million is coming from our side, but it's coming from regular working Americans.
When you say that they spent money to try to buy the seat, who are you talking about specifically?
I'm talking about the Israeli lobby, AIPAC, Republican Jewish Coalition, Miriam Adelson, Paul Singer, and John Paulson. These are the groups that have given 95% of the money to my opponent because they're mad at me over foreign policy. Now, what's interesting is my policy has always been no country is special and no country deserves my constituents' taxpayer dollars. So I have never voted for foreign aid to Egypt, to Syria, to Israel, or to Ukraine. But the ones in Israel, since they're the biggest recipients of it, that makes them a little bit mad.
Yeah, and that's why he lost. That's why he lost. And this too. Here's Ben Swan interviewing Massey. Pizzagate is real.
I want to give him all the credit for forming that coalition. He got blue-collar workers to show up. He got moms that want healthier food to show up. He got some of us conspiracy theorists to show up. By the way, a lot of those things you were talking about 10, 12 years ago, they turned out to be true. Right?
Pizzagate is real. Better believe it. They banned Massey from the War Channel, Fox News for like 18 months. He did make an appearance recently here. But Massey says that Epstein class, as their foreign-backed candidate, essentially there. What do we got? I think we got one more clip from Massey, and then that's it. Massey lost. He's done. He's done.
I cannot wait for May 19th. It's going to be so great. You know, just in case I lose, they gave me the number to call to concede. The area code is Tel Aviv, though.
Yep, well, he lost. I like these troll comments where they say, this troll comment on the YouTube says, Serpent Bloodline, that's a good name. Trump just keeps on winning and you just keep on crying. Trump has sold out every promise he ever made to his base. So, yeah, Trump is winning and America's losing for it. Serpent Bloodline. I like this post by Aaron Day. He says, I'm conflicted. Anyone else? On one hand, Thomas Massie is the best congressman we have, but by a wide margin. He stands on principle and forced the Epstein files into the daylight, which should permanently change how people understand the way the world actually works. On the other hand, his winning feeds the illusion that we can vote our way out. The attempt to achieve liberty through the Republican Party has already failed. The trajectory isn't improving. The technocrats are moving at warp speed, faster under total Republican control. The only real exit is for people to recognize their rights, don't come from government, take command of their own thoughts, actions, and emotions, and build parallel systems. If politics is understood as a tool to slow technocracy while we build alternatives, great. If a Massey win becomes another excuse to outsource your free will and skip the work of building outside the system, it's a gigantic net negative. Well, we don't have to face that, Aaron Day, because Massey lost. And then I think this sums up pretty well. Jason Bassler, Free Thought Project, posted this. He says, Montague Norman was the most powerful central banker of the early 20th century. In a 1924 speech to the United States Bankers Association, he said, by dividing the voter through the political party system, we can get them to expend their energies in fighting for questions of no importance. 100 years later, people are still trapped in the same left-right divide while the state keeps expanding. And I think that pretty much says it, doesn't it? I think so. That was 1924 speech by Montague Norman. And we're in 2026 and we're still falling for the same con job. American public. Instead of wake up, how about grow up? We should change it, I think, instead of, because they always say, oh, you got to wake up to this, that, and other. How about grow up? How about grow up? Here is Mr. Fraud himself, the fraud czar, Vice President J.D. Vance, on the newly created Anti-Weaponization Fund.
Well, let me say a couple things about that. First, Sean, I think in some ways the media has misrepresented what this is actually about. This is about compensating Americans for the lawfare that we saw under the last administration. And by the way, anybody can apply for it. Republicans can apply for it. Democrats can apply for it. As you know, the President of the United States has pardoned a number of Democrats who he felt were actually subject to this lawfare. I mean, if Hunter Biden wants to apply for this particular fund, he is welcome to. It's going to go through a normal process where we vet everything, where we try to identify whether people's claims are actually legitimate. But here's the question. When you say, why should taxpayers fund this? Whenever the United States government incurs legal expenses, it pays out those legal expenses. When it's settling a lawsuit, it pays out money to settle that lawsuit. And the question is $1 of this money going to the Trump administration? No. Is $1 of this money going to Donald Trump personally? No. Is $1 of this money going to Donald Trump's family? No. The people that would get the money are people, some of whom have been prosecuted completely disproportionate to any crime they've ever committed. Like, let's just take a couple of examples. Tina Peters is this woman who is about to get out of prison, thanks in large part to the president's good work in Colorado. This is a woman who, at worst, if you believe everything that the prosecutors said about her, committed misdemeanor trespassing, and somebody threw the book at her, this innocent grandmother was going to spend 10 years in prison, completely disproportionate to any misdemeanor trespassing that I've ever seen. Was that fair? No. Is it reasonable for her to get some compensation for the fact that she was treated unfairly? I think the answer is yes. And I think that what we're going to see, hopefully, is the entire country, led by this Department of Justice, turning the page on the lawfare. What I would like to propose, and I think the Democrats, hopefully they're willing to meet us halfway here. I won't hold my breath. But what I would propose is something very simple. That if you are willing to turn the page on Joe Biden's lawfare, why don't we prosecute people? Very simple principle. Why don't we prosecute people who violate the law? Let's not prosecute people because they said the wrong thing, or because they had the wrong political candidate, or because they had the wrong viewpoint. And I think part of that
all sounds well and good, but the fact that Trump set up his supporters at January 6th, okay? And so he straight up set them up, and now they're running this drag game. You see? But that all sounds well and good. Yeah, no weaponization of the lawfare against the people, but they're rolling out the antiseptic freaking task force. You see? They talk out both sides of their mouth. They don't mean any of it. That same DOJ he's talking about, their anti-weaponization. Well, they're still covering up the Epstein files. UK police investigating child abuse allegations linked to Epstein files. UK is at least acting like they are publicly ashamed and this is wrong. Trump has multiple times called it a Democrat hoax. Surrey police is investigating 2 separate allegations of non-recent child sexual abuse claims linked to informant that appeared in the Justice Department files related to Epstein. Open report relates 2 locations in Surrey and Brookshire in the mid-1990s and 2000. The other relates to mid-late 1980s in West Surrey. No arrests have been made as the investigation continues. The police said, "We take all reports of sexual offending seriously, and we will work to identify any reliable lines of inquiry to verify information to establish corroborating evidence." That's what you're supposed to say, right? That's what the police are supposed to say. Well, we had these FBI intake forms. We went over them, all kind of horrific, evil stuff reported. FBI looks at it, and just freaking throws it in the garbage. You know what I mean? And that's just what we have in the very limited scope of the Epstein files. Here's Melanie Stansbury, Congresswoman on the House Oversight Committee. Says they're continuing the investigation.
Hey everyone, well, happy Tuesday. I am here in Washington, D.C., and I am outside the U.S. Department of Justice. I am just about to go in and look at the Epstein files once again because our investigation continues. As you all know, we are continuing to investigate what happened in New Mexico to seek justice for the survivors. Yesterday, we had another bipartisan deposition in the Oversight Committee. We interviewed Tova Noel, who was the prison guard who reportedly was the last person who saw Jeffrey Epstein in prison the night that he died. We also are preparing for the deposition of Pam Bondi next Friday. And many of you have been asking about contempt of Bondi. She is scheduled to come in before the committee because after we filed those contempt charges in Congress, amazingly, 45 minutes later, she announced that she was coming into the committee. And so we are preparing for all of that. Now, it is a busy week here in Washington, D.C. Among many other things going on here this week is the reconciliation bill, which is being used as a vehicle to try to push through a gigantic slush fund for ICE. for the administration because their funding has not gone through the regular budget process, and they are basically trying to get a blank check for the remainder of the Trump administration. And as you all know, they also happen to stick $1 billion in there for Trump's ballroom. Now, that has run into a lot of issues in the Senate, but they are still trying to finagle their way to get it into the bill. And to that note, today is what is the annual White House picnic. It is a long tradition, and under normal circumstances, I would not attend in this administration, but I want to go lay eyes on what is going on over there on the White House grounds. And so I will be attending this afternoon, especially because
I see a lot of trolls over there in the YouTube comment section. If you're trolling this show, man, I would say you need to seriously get a life. Surrey, England, police investigating old cases involving Epstein, and we continue to report here now. They've bound all of these Epstein files up. There's a giant display there. Yeah, it was about the same report on the Surrey, England investigation. Epstein's alleged girlfriend dragged back into spotlight despite 2008 plea deal. Telling you, if you're Republican, Democrat, whatever, if you're Politico trolling this channel, you're on the wrong channel, bro. A fresh development in the Epstein case might now open new skeletons. It just goes on and on and on. Nadia Markinko, who was reportedly the late girlfriend of Epstein and assistant pilot, might find herself facing scrutiny despite a 2008 plea deal that enabled her to stay away from the limelight. Even though she and her lawyers reportedly claimed that she was one of Epstein's victims, a few pieces of evidence and witnesses suggest that she was an enabler who helped him carry out his misdeeds against minor girls. According to a report by the BBC, during Epstein's first stint in prison, which was a 13-month sentence for soliciting an intimate encounter with a minor, she visited him around 67 times. And we played the testimony of victims that say he was raping them while on house arrest. So they keep a tight grip over there in Florida when they put you on house arrest. Well, they do for most people, but Epstein, not so much, as we know here now. Morning Honey, and this is on MSN, and they cited some of the X accounts, Grizzy, some of these X accounts that are following and reporting on the Epstein cover up an investigation as we continue forward here now. Pretty amazing. They're citing the same sources that I follow to bring you some of this information. Anyhow, Epstein recruiter disguised as innocent flight attendant. Check out this. This is a girlfriend. So she's trying to act like, oh, she was a victim, but it's starting to look like she was actually part of the whole operation.
Welcome to Aviloop, your collective buying website for anything aviation. We offer deals on flight lessons, pilot accessories, fuel, FBO services, charter flights, and even small aircraft.
Hi, welcome to Cole's Flight School on Avaloop.com. My name is Ashley and I'm your deal attendant. Anyone who...
Avi Loop. Looks like that's a cover for their smuggling operations. Trump and Epstein through the years. Here's the display. Here is the display inside the Donald J. Trump and Jeffrey Epstein Memorial Reading Room in New York City. The DOJ, the Donald J. Trump and Jeffrey Epstein Memorial Reading Room. Quite a bit of work went into this. We reported on that yesterday, a 24-hour reading of the 3,747 bound volumes of publicly related Epstein files took place yesterday, and we reported on that. They streamed it 24 hours. Trump and Epstein through the years. Quite a display here now they put on there. They show the timelines you can see right there. All of the victims, or a lot of them, I don't know about all of them, but a lot of them coming forward here now. I believe some are still not even public. I don't blame them, honestly, after all the abuse they've suffered. But yeah, GOP gross old PDFs. You can see it right there. Indeed. But it's also the Democrats. Don't get it twisted. It's all of them, you see, is the problem. All of them. Look at the volumes. And this is only, conservatively speaking, 10%, right? This is only 10% of what they made publicly available. There's still 90+% of the Epstein files that the DOJ is holding on to. Part of the biggest cover-up in American history that you could see right there. The volumes upon volumes upon volumes. Power protected evil. Yeah. Quite a display. Quite a display indeed. Trump and Epstein through the years. A documented timeline. You can see right there all of the volumes. So good for them. Todd Blanche, acting attorney general, he promises not to recommend a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell in testimony to Congress earlier today. And so he's a lying lawyer, so I wouldn't put much faith in anything that he says, but as of right now, he says no pardon will be issued by the Justice Department for Ghislaine Maxwell. Second batch of Mandelson files won't be published this month. The report out of the BBC, the second tranche of documents related to Lord Mandelson's appointment as UK's ambassador to the US will not be published this month. And the investigation there says that he was trafficking state secrets essentially through UK government, UN documents and others to Epstein, so he can game, twist, and manipulate a bunch of different foreign policy, all kinds of different stuff. They're using this inside information for. And of course, the disgraced Mandelson has been forced to resign there, along with Mick Sweeney, Keir Starmer's chief of staff. All right, we're at the 1 hour mark. And I guess we're doing something right if we're attracting all of these trolls on the YouTube. All right, friends, give me that like, share, subscribe, push that notification button. Go to weaponizednews.com. Get yourself a holograph sticker, a white background sticker, and clear sticker right here. Weaponizednews.com/shop. Give us a donation If you don't feel like patroning our store, we appreciate the donations. We have Buy Me a Coffee, Cash App, Bitcoin wallet address, all in the description below this video. Become a paid subscriber at Weaponized News Substack. We give away everything free here on Substack. You'll get links to almost everything we talk about there, a summary of the show and the full show. You can become a paid subscriber there. Help support independent reporting and analysis brought to you 5 days a week at Weaponized News, streaming live 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern Time, weaponizednews.com/shop. I do appreciate all the donors, patrons to the store, and subscribers to the Weaponized News Substack. Thank you very much. Out there in the audience, you know who you are. It is truly appreciated. We do need a lot more support out there. We are getting the support from the trolls, apparently, over there on the YouTube. God, what an existence you have. You're paid by somebody's paying you to come act like a fool on these little YouTube channels, Weaponized News. Man, you guys are embarrassment to yourselves. Anyhow, weaponizednews.com/shop. Welcome back to the second half of Weaponized News on this Tuesday, May 19th, 2026 edition. On to the economic section of the show. And apparently the trolls love Trump's corruption. They're probably paid directly by him. Who knows? But they love it. Yeah, he's winning. The rest of us are losing. And so you cheer that on. Wow. Donald Trump executed 3,642 securities transactions during the first quarter, averaging nearly 58 trades for every U.S. trading day. This translates to roughly 9 trades every hour, or about 1 trade every 7 minutes during the time the market was open. Trump made 94 different trades of, quote, Magnificent Seven stocks in the first quarter of this year. The trades were valued at between 50 million and 70 million across 64 buy orders and 30 stock sales. So, yeah, the most corrupt administration we've ever seen. That's saying a lot coming out of the Biden administration, right? So Trump had to one up Biden on his corruption, and he's done so here now. And backhandedly propped up the evil Putin YouTube. Russia's ruble is the world's best performing currency this quarter, up 12% to 72.6 per dollar. Its strongest showing since early 2023, before the unprovoked invasion of Ukraine. Right. The driver, a surge in oil revenues. So we have schizophrenic, insane foreign policy. We're in a proxy war still with Russia via Ukraine. And now the Iran war has funneled all this oil money to Russia. Imagine that. That's a report out of Bloomberg. Truly amazing. Schizophrenic. These people shouldn't be in charge of freaking cleaning the toilets in the Epstein reading room. Trump's cousin, Hillary Clinton, says for Trump and his friends, a $1.8 billion slush fund paid for by you, a $1 billion ballroom paid for by you, for you and other American taxpayers, millions kicked off healthcare, highest gas prices in 5 years, soaring costs for groceries. Another disconnected elitist here, Hillary Clinton, she posted this. She's not wrong about most of it, but she's just as corrupt and evil as all the rest of them. You know what I mean? So it's like two demons are sitting there calling each other bad. They're all bad. Like, why can't people wrap their little tiny pea-sized miracle damaged brains around this fact? DOJ sets up $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund. And are any of the true victims of lawfare waged upon them, that would be the American people, by the U.S. government, are any of them actually going to even see any of this? I highly doubt it. This is another graft, grift, scam, scheme by Trump. It's going to be all funneled back into insiders that prop his corruption up. We shall see here now. We shall see. I'm not holding my breath on this anti-weaponization fund. It's got Hillary Clinton all up in arms about it. Another fake, like she gives a damn about U.S. taxpayers. It's insulting and laughable at the same time. The Justice Department yesterday established a 1.776 billion dollar, 1776. They're playing you, MAGA American patriots, with your flag and the Constitution and all this BS. They don't give a damn. America 250, you're being played like sucker chump fools. So the Anti-Weaponization Fund, established by the Department of Justice for $1.776 billion. Again, Trump set up his supporters on January 6th, bro. It's all a scam, and the scam continues here now. Get a load of this one. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche says the United States is hereby forever barred and precluded from prosecuting or pursuing examinations or similar or related reviews against Trump or related or affiliated individuals, including family members or related companies and trusts. Here's that letter. It's straight up racketeering. You understand? The government is an organized crime syndicate. And I don't give a damn what your political party is. These are the facts of the matter. And taxation's theft, and they shouldn't be auditing anyone on top of this. But this is the system we got. And now Trump's above the law. So he can carry on his corruption unimpeded by any law and order. U.S. Justice Department forever bars IRS from auditing Trump's past tax returns. I'm not against that. I say abolish the damn IRS. But that's not the point here now, is it? Financial Times reports that Donald Trump Jr.'s venture capital firm, 1789 Capital, has grown from roughly $200 million to $3.5 billion in assets while pitching an, quote, America First investment strategy centered around patriotic capitalism. Let me translate that for you. It's actually technocratic fascism or technocracy. The Palm Beach-based firm says it aims to reach $10 billion in assets and has invested heavily in AI, war, and tech companies, including Databricks, Grok, XAI, SpaceX, and Anduril. One partner told the Financial Times the firm hopes to become a new Cargill Group style powerhouse. They're war profiteers. It's evil. Do you understand? It's wrong what they're doing. Mortgage rates surged to highest level since July. So I'm glad Trump's winning while the rest of America is hurting real bad economically here now. The average rate for a 30-year fixed loan rose 7 basis points on Tuesday to 6.75%, according to National Association of Realtors. Financial Times reports that Trump's war has cost Americans an additional $40 billion in fuel, which has exceeded the cost of repairing the country's bridges and restarting the air traffic control system. And then here is our AAA national average for the price of a gallon of gasoline. I guess this is winning for you fools out there trolling me. So here's your AAA national average, $4.53 a gallon across the country. And Brown University, the Watson School of International Affairs and Public Affairs. Let's take a look at this tracker. It's going up every day. We're getting we're in price gouge by Rockefeller oil oligarchy. It's up to now, combined with gasoline and diesel, $327.56 per household. The burden placed upon us for this unnecessary illegal foreign war of aggression against Iran. Total consumer burden since the start of the war. It's going to be it'd be 43 billion tomorrow. We're at 42.9 billion consumer cost burden since the start of the war, February 28, 2026. Oil supplies depleting very fast, warns energy chief. The world's oil stockpiles are depleting very fast. The head of the International Energy Agency has warned, all by design. They've created artificial scarcity. What does Michael Yon say? I forget his thing, but he says the bat time first, right? I don't even want to say the words because the censorship against me has been so heavy. Anyway, they did the bat thing. Next is famine. Next, a major world war. All of it engineered. And it looks like that's the exact path we're going down, unless enough people stand up and say no. All we have to do is simply non-violently not comply, and their machine will stop. Economic fury, U.S. Treasury chief demands allies intensify sanctions against Iran. So today, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent urged Washington allies to intensify efforts to dismantle Iran's banking and oil export networks during the so-called No Money for Terror conference in Paris. And again, everybody I don't like, you're a damn terrorist. It's pretty damn, I'm burnt out after, what are we, 25 years in this never-ending war on terror? I'm burnt on it, okay? Again, one more time, the West in large part creates these terrorist groups. ISIS, ISIL, Al-Qaeda, name them. They're created, funded, radicalized by Western intelligence in large part. U.S. expands blockade against Iran with new maritime and banking sanctions. And so the weaponization of the world's reserve currency, your U.S. dollar, with the pyramid and the all-seeing eye on the back of it right there. Surprisingly enough, Tehran Stock Exchange there in Iran reopens after historic 80-day shutdown. Iranian officials reopened its stock exchange this morning, ending the longest trading suppression in the nation's history. The Tehran Stock Exchange had been frozen for nearly 80 days following the beginning of the Iran war, February 28, 2026. Local economic, let's go through here a little bit. So their stock market reopened until it all kicks off hot again. This guy's back out doing speeches, Anthony Blinken. And hey, he started all this, or a big part of it. He didn't start it, but he promoted the policy as our, along with Genocide Joe, now continued in the Trump administration. So old Anthony Blinken, a dark occultist, very evil man, we've documented here on Weaponized News. Let's hear what he had to say. We got a couple clips from former Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, instrumental in the Palestinian genocide.
Fortunately, where we are now is, just as the president seems to be underwater on a lot of issues within the United States, we're underwater around the world. There was a poll out a couple of weeks ago, 130 countries. And what it found was that China was seen as a more credible actor than the United States. Germany, 70% of people in one poll saw the United States as an adversary. So this means that our ability to align, to build convergence in ways that can deal with the challenges that China poses has been vastly diminished. Fortunately,
and he started it way back, right? Him and Jake Sullivan and their whole crew, we covered it at the time when they were in power. More from Blinken here on China.
and that means making ourselves as strong as possible at home with the right investments. But it also means making ourselves as strong as possible around the world, aligning other countries, building convergence, because, to the point you made, if we're competing with China one-on-one, that's a game that we may lose. Their market's much bigger. Their manufacturing is 3 times our manufacturing. Purchasing power parity is greater than ours. More papers, more patents, a bigger navy. You can go down the list. But when we're aligned with Europe, with Japan, with Korea, with India, with Australia, with Canada, we go from about 25% of world GDP to 50 or 60%. A lot harder for China to ignore.
Department of War meme of the day here. The warfighter's president. Really? American greatness. It's a weird meme out of the Department of War. I don't understand why they got a guy. That's like your plane got shot down and you had to parachute out. American greatness. I don't know. Maybe there's paratroopers. I don't know. But this one, yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. American greatness is that you got shot down and had to parachute out of your plane. They maybe, and when they say protecting old glory, I don't know. You guys missed on that one. Here's a report out of Greg Reese report. Predictive maps and the new world order. We're in a new era, a new world order, as we've been reporting here for years now at Weaponized News.
The Hopi prophecy is based on an oral record that spans thousands of years. It speaks of cyclical cataclysms and says that one is coming in our near future, and that it will be the transition between the end of the fourth world and the beginning of the fifth. Several ancient texts have documented cyclical cataclysms. The Bible begins with the replenishing of the earth, which many biblical scholars interpret as a restoration after a previous destruction, and it ends with destruction. During the 16th century, Nostradamus wrote of the earth trembling so violently that great structures would be destroyed. Edgar Cayce, America's sleeping prophet, documented over 14,000 psychic readings that have been stunningly accurate. He had visions that simultaneous eruptions of Mount Pelée in Martinique and Mount Etna in Sicily would occur approximately 90 days before the West Coast is flooded. Gordon Michael Scallion was an electronics consultant with no background in mysticism when, in 1979, he suddenly lost his voice and began experiencing visions of future Earth changes. He published maps that show America's coastlines underwater, the country cut in half from the Great Lakes to the Gulf of Mexico, and Denver, Colorado as a future seaport. After years working as an electrical engineer for the U.S. aerospace industry, Aaron Abramson began focusing on psychic research. He predicted dramatic Earth changes and created a future map of the United States that showed the same coastal inundation. The alleged classified map of the U.S. Navy, which has been circulating for decades, shows U.S. coastal inundation patterns nearly identical to these visionary maps. Stan Deyo received a congressional appointment to the U.S. Air Force Academy at Colorado Springs. His advanced propulsion research took him to Australia in 1971 to work under the direction of America's Dr. Edward Teller and the Soviet Union's Dr. Andrei Sakharov. Stan Deyo had above top secret security clearance and predicted that sunspot activity, tectonic upheaval, and volcanic activity would result in coastal inundation of the United States. One specific element of Deyo's predictions, a mega tsunami triggered by volcanic collapse in the Canary Islands, has been independently modeled and published by geologists at University College London. Deyo has spent years consulting with Hopi elders and found their prophecy to be consistent with his scientific research and developed maps that reflect what we have already discussed. FEMA's National Flood Insurance Program maps show the same results. All these maps show Denver, Colorado, which sits 5,280 feet above sea level and hundreds of miles from the nearest ocean coastline, among the most secure and stable positions in the continental United States. Perhaps this explains the mysteries of the Denver International Airport. At 35,000 acres, DIA's footprint is twice as large as the next largest U.S. airport. It was built 30 kilometers farther from the city than the airport it replaced and has fewer runways. DIA was $2 billion over budget. There are as many as 6 underground levels below the ground floor, and possibly more that are not publicly known. Construction workers handling different sections of the project reported complex underground tunnels and buried buildings. Construction companies were changed repeatedly throughout the build, and teams were fired once they completed their section, ensuring that no single group had a complete picture of the overall blueprint. The murals by Leo Tanguma, who confirmed he was given guidelines for the imagery, show a sequence of events: environmental destruction, burning cities, children dead and dying, and a new unified world emerging. The Masonic capstone reads, New World Airport Commission, an organization with no verifiable ongoing existence and no public record outside this stone and the airport's opening ceremonies. Perhaps it is merely coincidence, but an expected cataclysmic event like this would explain every bizarre action of the U.S. government for the past decade. Greg Reese reporting.
There you go. Is any of that going to happen? I don't know. Pole shift? I don't know. But the government's going to take care of themselves and leave us all hung out to dry. And believe that. Most evil man in the world, YouTube, Putin. He is going to do a big meeting with China, with Xi. He arrived there today, and they're going to have a big meeting. They're laughing about Trump, probably. Well, they're all in it together, Operation Lockstep at the top levels, you see. So, again, we're in a new era, new world order. The power is shifting to the east as we continue to report here. And they're all working together at the highest levels, but they'll keep us all fighting here amongst ourselves. Joe Blow, Russia, Chinamen, and American will all fight amongst ourselves. And at the top level, they're all in their secret society, Hobbot, whatever BS secret cults, laughing at the rest of us. And that's the reality of the world we live in. I'm sorry to report to you here now. Here is a journalist, Abby Martin, says that Aardvarkland society has gone full fascist. Let's watch this report.
Israeli society has gone full fucking fascist. They're not indoctrinated in the sense of, let's say, North Korea. They know exactly what's going on. They have more honest media than the US. They see exactly what they're doing. They see the footage. They know the kids are starving. They agree with it. And this is overwhelmingly displayed. This is not just anecdotal through my man on the street interviews when I was in Israel, which I was floored by in a period of relative calm. I mean, it's never relative calm for Palestinians, obviously.
There's only one way, I would carpet bomb them.
There's a interesting kind of contradiction of this indoctrination in Israeli society. On one hand, it's cradle to grave. You are separate from your Palestinian brothers and sisters. They are the working class that serve you if you do interact with them. And you are taught to be terrified of them. You don't step foot into the West Bank. They put up signs themselves projecting the terror that they feel that they have taught themselves, right? And that's the whole rationalization of the violence and brutality, is that they will do it to us, so we must do it to them first. It's a really perverse ideology.
Israelis have to take over, and they have to kick them away.
I think we have the right to hate them. I don't see a reason why not.
This was in Jerusalem, in a place called Tolerance Square, right in front of Zara, you know. And I'm talking to people from all walks of life. Every single person espoused genocidal rhetoric. Kill them all, bomb them all, drop a big nuke, expel them. Until then, I'd been kind of placated by politicians and media that the two-state solution was possible, right? I didn't really realize the impossibility of that until I was there and saw there is no more West Bank, and Israeli society has gone full fucking fascist.
יש לך משהו להגיד, אומרת על מה? וגם ככה רבים, מקסימום.
אוקיי, בסדר בעברית. פשוט מאוד, צריך להיכנס לשטחים.
When you let a state have impunity, and when they're that full of hatred, the limitations are endless. And as we've seen, they will not stop. They will not stop. The levels continue to stoop lower and lower of what they're getting away with and what they're capable of doing. And the US will back them every step of the way. But every single poll since this started has shown overwhelming support by Israeli. It's really, really horrific and despicable.
So you can say, I hate Muslims, I hate Arabs, I hate the Palestinians. They're going to do it to us here too now. You understand? Ambassador to Aardvarkland. Ambassador to Aardvarkland, traitor, Mike Huckabee. I say that because he's hanging out with convicted freaking spy, Pollard, right? And all the rest of his, but that right there. How's this guy not under arrest? Huckabee, the fake Christian Zionist, he says, insulting Aardvarkland is like insulting my wife. DOJ announces a 15-city nationwide antiseptic awareness and action tour to increase reporting of antisepticism, strengthen collaboration between local and federal law enforcement and aardvark communities and foster broader interfaith opposition to anti-Septicism among aardvarks, Baptist Christians, Catholics, and Muslims. And so we're getting to the point where if you say I'm well, we're already there. We've already passed it, right? I'm anti-war. I don't support any of these illegal foreign wars of aggression against whoever. Then they're going to label you, and they already have, to all the college students that protest, two years ago now, right? They're going to say you're anti-Septic, and they'll start turning the screws with their Noah Hyde laws and all the rest of this. It's extremely un-American. It's tyranny for these demons. You see where all this is going. Here you go. Thumbnail for the show. And again, the Department of Justice is covering up the Epstein files and refuses to prosecute any Epstein co-conspirators. Justice Department announces formation of advisory committee on anti-Septicism. Today, they announced this. President Trump has made combating anti-Septicism a top priority for this administration. And we thank Leo Terrell for his leadership at the Department of Justice in helping to carry out this mission. Protecting civil rights of every American remains a core responsibility of the Department of Justice. It's laughable. It's laughable. But if you say, well, I don't agree with their Talmudic satanic rituals, then they say you're the bad guy and being hateful. You see, out of the other side of their mouth, they're saying, oh, we're good Christians and we care about your civil rights. Bullshit. Bullshit. It's clear. It's clear. It's clear what is going on here. There's this special group who has an undue influence on our government. The Massey election just proved that. And now this. They're turning the screws on us. You see? So if you say I'm against genocide, they say you're anti-Septic. That's where we're at. It's amazing. That's where we're at. Former head of Al-Qaeda, they're now outstanding young man, according to Trump. Syria President al-Shara. Al-Shara reaffirms ban on aardvark land goods and entry of aardvark citizens. Should he be arrested? You know what I mean? Sanctioned, droned, the whole routine. He knows if he starts going full on aardvark, then he's serious population will turn against him. He knows that, right? Syria President al-Shara has issued decree number 109 of 2026, revising Syria's customs law and reaffirming the ban on importing aardvark land goods into the country. Article 112 prohibits the entry of products that violate boycott laws, including the boycott of aardvark land, and also bars aardvark land citizens from entering Syria. The move comes as normalization talks between Syria and aardvark land remain stalled over aardvark land's continued occupation of Syrian territory. They're taking that land in Syria for the greater aardvark land project, and even Mr. Al-Qaeda, the reformed terrorist, they're going to go after him next. How dare you say don't take Syrian land? I know, God forbid he stands up for the people of Syria. He's the freaking president. And yeah, Trump has radicalized Iran. Reported yesterday they're broadcasting on Iranian state TV, handing out AKs. Here's Iranian women learning to assemble AKs. Now, will our criminal government here in America give us that civil defense training? I doubt it. They're all digging bunkers to go hide. Iranian hacker collective Handullah exposes joint CIA Mossad espionage network operating under the guise of global charity. According to a statement released by the group, the seemingly non-profit foundation PFAP was thoroughly hacked to expose its role as an operational and covert arm for planning, coordinating, and executing espionage projects and financing Zionist networks. Handullah alleges that the organization serves as a backbone for expanding intelligence networks and provides financial, logistical, and intelligence support to the Aardvark government. The hackers announced that they have compromised 639,000 top secret documents, including contracts, donor lists, secret meeting records, and money transfer records, in addition to making these files available for download on the internet. The group stated that all classified and sensitive information from the foundation has immediately been sent to intelligence agencies of the resistance axis. The group claims to maintain complete security oversight, tracking every covert transaction and fake charitable project run by Western nations. The statement concludes with a direct warning to citizens in the United States and Europe regarding the use of their financial resources. Handullah asserts that, quote, your taxes and wealth have been sacrificed to corruption, crime, and the dirty projects of Zionism, warning Western audiences that their money has funded conflict and destruction. The collective emphasis that despite these alleged global networks, Iran and the resistance remain powerful, and vows that no covert operations will remain hidden from their surveillance. That's a report out of the Cradle. And yeah, I know it's a war crime, according to Aardvarks, to attempt to deliver baby formula to starving Palestinian children. All vessels in the global Samud flotilla have now been reportedly intercepted by Aardvark land forces in international water, according to organizers, ending the convoy's attempt to break the siege on Gaza. Organizers say 54 civilian boats carrying 428 participants departed from Turkey 4 days ago before being surrounded roughly 250 nautical miles off Gaza's coast. The flotilla's live tracker shows all boats intercepted with 0 vessels still sailing. All 5 Freedom Flotilla coalition boats have been intercepted. We predicted this. It ain't hard to predict. We know what they're doing. You know what I mean? We said this is going to happen last Thursday when they launched this mission, because we know the freaking program. It ain't hard to tell what's going to happen here. God bless their souls, but man, they're lucky they don't whack them all. And they may very well still whack them all. They beat them up, torture them, starve them. Yeah, for the crime of trying to deliver baby formula to starving children. And we showed that report yesterday. Netanyahu's in the control center, freaking loving it, directing the freaking tyranny. They're leveling Lebanon. Leveling Lebanon here. Here's some video. It's ongoing. Those are not even Palestinians. Those are Lebanese now. They're targeting the same program they do to the Palestinians. They're targeting their agricultural industry. They're now in southern Lebanon. That was Aardvark forces targeting watermelon farmers in southern Lebanon. It's reported that they used 3 incendiary phosphorus bombs in that attack. Here's some footage. They're leveling the place. Footage shows aftermath of a bombing campaign earlier today in southern Lebanon, Tyre. They're leveling the place. And the video went on for showing more damage for like another 30, 45 seconds. It goes on. There's just here's another one. Where was this? In southern Lebanon, Al-Housh. And it's literally every day there's alleged ceasefire. What a joke that is between the Aardvark and Lebanese government as they're wiping them out.
Allahu Akbar. Ghar al-Haus.
It's image after image after image. Drop site news reporting here now, and this is from the journalists on the ground there, Courtney Bonanu. Well, let's show at least 11 civilians have been killed and 3 others wounded after that strike in Tyre district, southern Lebanon. Here's a reporter on the scene video, Courtney Bonanu. Here's a report.
Hi, I'm reporting to you from the outskirts of Humin, which is included in the newest forced displacement orders from the Israeli army, which includes 12 towns, a few of which are behind me here, Habush and Humin. The road to this location was full of residents who had fled their homes, who are now idly waiting on the side of the road. Around 1 a.m., the Israeli army issued a forced displacement order for the city of Sur while residents were sleeping. I found out this morning when I woke up to a barrage of messages and missed calls because the bombing was about 1 kilometer from where I was staying, and I slept through it. These forced displacement orders are already barbaric, but issuing them in the dead of night is a new level of barbarism, and this is something that we saw happen in Gaza pretty frequently. It has been a bloody 24 hours here in Lebanon, with the Israeli army attacking yesterday almost 50 towns, and committing multiple attacks already today, including the massacre of a family in Kfar Sir, the killing of a municipal worker who was out distributing bread to local residents in Haruf, and farmers in Kilele this morning were terrorized by an Israeli quadcopter while they were trying to work. A group of citizens were kidnapped in the Shuma area. There was also just a white phosphorus attack behind me in Zautar, which we were able to film. With every new Israeli attack comes more death, destruction, and displacement. According to the Lebanese Ministry of Health, more than 3,000 people have been killed and almost 10,000 injured in Israeli attacks since March 2nd.
Man, she needs to stay safe out there with her reporting. I don't know how much longer she's going to be able to do it. And the genocide in Gaza continues. On day 218 of the Gaza ceasefire, not a single aid truck entered Gaza on Sunday, and no participants or humanitarian cases, or no patients or humanitarian cases were allowed to leave through the Rafah crossing, as Aardvark Land continues collectively punishing Gaza population amid demands for Hamas to disarm, according to field monitoring shared with mediators. In the 7 months since the Aardvark Land's cabinet and prime minister approved the Trump-backed ceasefire agreement, Aardvark Land forces have violated the terms nearly 3,000 times. Sunday alone saw 14 new violations, including attacks that killed 6 Palestinians and wounded 40 others. And they just go through detailing all of these different attacks here. Total numbers since the ceasefire took effect: 877 Palestinians have been killed, including 217 children, 94 women, 25 elderly. Well, 2,602 have been wounded, including 730 children, 457 women, and 117 elderly. 79 civilians have also been detained. Aardvark Land forces have now carried out 1,291 airstrikes and shelling attacks, 1,119 live fire incidences, 113 military incursions, and 309 home demolitions across Gaza since the ceasefire. And they go through a bunch of more data in this report out of Dropsite News. I'll put the link, or just go to Dropsite News. You can find it maybe, or I'll put the link at Weaponized News Substack so you can go take a look if you're interested in the death and destruction there by our greatest ally. It's next level, man. Here you go. They whacked, here's some video. Whacking them there in Gaza.
أنا كنت واقف في المحل، كانت السيارة وهي جاية ملهاش تقريبا 5 دقايق صفوا في المكان. بعد ما صفوا كان يدس كذاب، ما بعرف إذا كنت كافر أو صوت فنانة. والسيارة كان فيها شهيد واحد، هو لحاله تم في السيارة. بعد 5 دقايق تم باستهداف، وجرينا عليه عشان نلحقوه وقالوا إنه في نفس وأخذوه بالإسعاف. والشارع كان موجود فيه كثير ناس في نص الشارع تقريبا الاستهداف، وفي شارع عام وفي شارع الشهداء. وكان في كثير ناس مرة زي ما أنت شايف في بسطات ومحلات وعمارات سكنية. طبعا مبين إنه الحرب ما انتهت.
Aardvark Land admits senior reserve officer killed in Lebanese resistance ambush, 10th killed since the so-called ceasefire started. All sides are suffering. Of course, the Lebanese and Palestinians worse, but Aardvark Land too suffering heavy casualties and injuries. They don't care. They're hell bent. So yeah, this Aardvark soldier no longer with us, sadly, tragic, to steal that land and genocide their lessers with Aardvark supremacy fueling all this. It's a damn shame. And again, they're sinking to new lows. Aardvark Land settlers are smashing gravestones in the occupied West Bank. So they've dug up buried bodies of Palestinians. Now they're going around smashing their gravestones. There is no depravity they won't undertake. And again, spitting on Christian holy sites, spitting on Christians, desecrating statues of Jesus. Aardvarkland settler attacks across the occupied West Bank over the past 24 hours, according to Quid's feed. And they just go through dozens of Aardvarkland settlers stormed the Alaska Mosque compound and performed Talmudic rituals. Aardvarkland settlers smashed gravestones. We just covered that. A flag march was held through Jabber neighborhood. Settlers burned an agricultural tractor, vandalized Palestinian property, and spray painted racist logos. Settlers released their livestock on the Palestinian farmland in the village of Jinnah. Agricultural land was set on fire. Settlers burned 500 dumas of agricultural land. Palestinian vehicles were attacked with stones. Farmers were prevented from plowing their fields. The settlers' outpost they're expanding settler outposts. New settler roads opened. Settler harassment of homeowners and a school. Children were harassed and intimidated on their way to school in the occupied West Bank. And that's just the last 24 hours of these ultra-Zionist genocidal maniacs action there in the occupied West Bank. 2,420 sexual assault complaints filed in Aardvarkland Army in 2025, up 350 in 1 year. The vast majority avoided criminal prosecution. Data presented to the Knesset Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee and reported by Aardvarkland Channel 12 show that the Aardvark Army received 2,420 complaints of sexual assault and harassment in 2025. Excuse me. Though its Yahalom unit saw an increase of roughly 350 cases compared to 2024, only 234 complaints were referred to the Interior Ministry and police, resulting in 42 indictments, while 21 cases ended with disciplinary measures, and more than 700 were handled only through so-called command meetings. Another 48 complaints later withdrew their complaints, and 60 civilian contractors were barred from entering military bases. According to Channel 12, just 10% of cases were handled through criminal proceedings, while 59% were dealt with administratively through reprimands, dismissals, and disciplinary procedures. Another 22% were classified as unresolved, 5% were referred to outside bodies, and 4% were not processed because of unspecified external circumstances. Military data cited by the Knesset website show complaints have risen steadily from 668 in 2014 to 2,420 in 2025. Their attack. It's aardvark on aardvark sex assault. It needs to all stop, man. All sides are suffering here now. All sides. This is the depravity of all this. Aardvarkland Finance Minister Smotrich threatens to declare war on the entire world and destroy everything if an arrest warrant is issued against him, i.e. the Samson option. It's here from Smotrich here. I do believe we have English translation.
En is duvachli Last night, I was informed that the criminal prosecutor of the anti-Semitic court in The Hague submitted a secret request for an international arrest warrant against me. This request joins the unprecedented arrest warrants issued against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. The clumsy attempt to force upon us a policy of security suicide through sanctions and arrest warrants will not succeed. On a personal level, they do not intimidate me. I am willing to pay personal prices in order to serve my people. If I am required to pay such a price, I do so proudly and with my head held high. But on the national level, they are not harming Benjamin Netanyahu or Bezalel Smotrich personally. They are trying to harm us as the Prime Minister and Finance Minister of the State of Israel. The issuance of arrest warrants against the Prime Minister is a declaration of war. The issuance of arrest warrants against the Defense Minister and Finance Minister is a declaration of war. And in the face of a declaration of war, we will respond with war. The Palestinian Authority has started a war, and it will get a war. From today onward, every economic or other target within my power to harm, under my authority as Finance Minister and as a Minister in the Defense Ministry, will be targeted. Not talk and gimmicks, actions. I hereby announce the first target that will be struck. Immediately after finishing my remarks here, I will sign an order to evacuate Khan al-Ahmar on my authority as a Minister in the Defense Ministry. I promise all our enemies, this is only the beginning.
Yeah, and he's leveling the whole place. He signed an evacuation order there. He's like, you want to even talk about an ICC international arrest warrant? I'm going to go whack me some Palestinians. And he just went and did that. Ben Gvir vows to defy potential ICC arrest warrant. Middle East Eye reported yesterday that ICC prosecutors filed a secret application for an arrest warrant against Aardvarkland Finance Minister Smotrich, while a possible case against National Security Minister Ben Gvir remains under review. They're literally, dude, the guy has a noose and freaking pistols on his 50th birthday cake. He has a noose lapel pin bragging that they're going to carry out the final solution against the Palestinians in their custody. And they're all terrorists, you see. I don't know. Have we seen that? We've seen this movie by the evil Nazis. Now, the alleged victims of the Nazis are carrying out the same routine. Aardvarkland expands occupation by more than 1,000 square kilometers since October 7th, 2023. They're taking all that land grab. Aardvarkland has seized 1,000 square kilometers across Gaza, Lebanon, and Syria since October 7th. That's according to a report out of the Financial Times. I guess they're big anti-septics too at the Financial Times. Here you go. So there you go. They will have the greater Aardvarkland project, or they will blow up the world, according to threats from their finance minister. Like literally cartoon villains of whatever insane spy thriller you want to come up with. James Bond or freaking Mission Impossible, whatever. You know what I mean? These are the guys in real life doing the thing. Truly amazing. All right, that's all the reporting we got for today. Let's take a look at Iran international headlines. What if anything has happened here? Trump says Iran war will end quickly as he weighs next move. And we've already won many times, according to Trump, but yet again, Khomeini is in charge of Iran as the supreme leader, and the Strait of Hormuz is closed. There. U.S. regulator probes oil trades before Trump delayed Iran strikes. Wall Street Journal reports oil falls as U.S.-Iran talks ease fears of renewed war escalation. That's Trump gaming the market. There's a funny one out of the New York Times. They say U.S. and Aardvark land wanted Ahmadinejad, if you remember him, out of Iran to lead post-war Iran. Really? Thought they hate that dude. He goes out there and says a lot of truth at the UN. Thought they hate that dude. He said they were using weather weapons against Iran and the Persian Gulf, 15, 20 years ago, and everybody laughed at it. And it turns out it's probably pretty accurate. That's a funny report out of it. The headline out of the New York Times. They went Ahmadinejad back at the head of. But you guys hated him, and look what you got. Look what you got. Now they're arming up. Now they're arming up the population with AKs that are in Iran. Look what you got. And then Al Jazeera headlines, and we'll wrap up this Tuesday broadcast. Iran warns of, quote, surprises if war resumes. We report on that. Vance signals progress in talks. Let's hope so, but at this point, call me skeptical. Says 2 Chinese super tankers exit the Strait of Hormuz. And yeah, there's going to be a bunch of news tomorrow. Or it's gonna happen right now, but we'll have to report it tomorrow here as the big Russia-China meeting is set to take place. So we'll take a look at that tomorrow and much more. Thank you guys for joining us on this Tuesday edition of Weaponized News. Let's go over to the channels now and take a look at the chats over there on the Odysee. Shout out to Huffman, Fat Bob. Fat Bob is on one today. Yeah, thank you for chatting it up there. He says, "No way, Sam. I hinge on Vance's every word. Well, as do I, but he is Peter Thiel's man, so that gives me a bit of skepticism. Fat Bob says, all I know is Trump's for real. Oh, Fat Bob. Let's see. I appreciate they're fun. They're all, everything's wonderful. Yeah, it is sad. Fat Bob said, he said, I met a pro guitarist locally in his area who got Lyme disease from a tick. His life is hell, he said. Yeah, it's quite horrific. I knew one of my friends' wife's sisters had Lyme disease, and yeah, it was quite horrific for her. So yeah. But go check out that Lab 257. It's pretty well documented there. Coming out of Plum Island. It's a great interview with the author of that book, Carol. Let's see here. Deep jumped in at the end there. Shout out to Deep. We missed John today. Let's see. What's Fat Bob say? He says the antiseptic task force, man. So glad they got that together. So needed here in America. It is. It is, Bob. Let's see. Like Scientology, both are human traffickers. I heard several times Iran could have ended Aardvark Land 2 weeks ago, but they stopped. The beat goes on. Indeed, there, Fat Bob, the beat goes on. Very good comments there. Thank you for chatting it up over there on the Odysee, Fat Bob. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on X, Kick, Substack, Bitchute, Rumble, and YouTube. Let's see if I can stomach some of the chats over there. I'll just start. Let me get to about the middle. And again, thank you guys for chatting it up there. Appreciate it. Shout out to Silver on the Rumble, Denver. Fat Bob. He's multiple places. He's a talented guy, Fat Bob. Fat Bob, send us some more music so we can. I miss playing music, but I'm telling you, you play 2 seconds and they claim copyright on the YouTube. You know what I mean? So we need original music here that's not AI. So send it in, Fat Bob. It doesn't even have to be political, just whatever, and we'll play your tunes on the show. As long as you don't claim copyright on me, I don't think you would. You know what I mean? But send me some of your original tunes. We'll play them here, Fat Bob, because we need some music on the show, but YouTube's made it nearly impossible. So if you feel like it, I'd appreciate it. Send it over to me. We'll play it. Let's see there. Shout out to Snow. It says Aardvark invasion. Feels like it, doesn't it? Max says Sam's pitch for my Substack got me a cult following. Well, that's good. That's good. I see you working out there, Mac, putting out reports. I didn't. Can I do it quickly here? I don't know. Apologies. I will pull up your page and plug it properly tomorrow, Mac. Okay. Let's see. They say you got YouTube going. I don't know. Ruckus says you're doing something if you get these professional trolls. So we must be doing something here. True, right? Strong on Rumble says Kentucky requires an automatic recount for U.S. Senate, U.S. House, State General Assembly, and nearly all statewide offices if the vote margin is 0.5%. All of the total vote or less, the AP may. Yeah. What Snow said there, let's see. Strong said, as of today, it's 168 days till U.S. midterms. Yeah, and Democrats are going to take power, and then they're going to go after Trump, and we have to live through all of that. Rightfully so in many cases, but I mean, It's better than pronouns and transvestites, Hollywood says. Well, you're going to get a whole lot more of that because of Trump. So you could thank him for selling out all of his America First policies. You could thank Trump for that. They're all working together. Okay, there's no difference. It's the government. You understand? It's the government. And they're playing us all off against each other. And they stay in power, whatever color hat they want to wear, whatever stupid political party they want to say they're part of. They're all the government. $1.7 trillion infrastructure improvement bill was passed by Democrats. It did absolutely nothing to fix your infrastructure. Do you see me saying how great they are? It's the government, bro. All sides and everybody in between. It was $4.99 under Biden for about a year. Don't forget the $24 billion for Ukraine. You guys should go watch our shows when Biden was in power. When I had Simon co-hosting with me, we tore them apart worse than we're tearing Trump apart. You understand? A-Dub, Young, shout out to you guys. Some regular listeners there, I see. Let's see. Young says heart machine. Most of it's Mother Nature. They can push a little bit. I agree with that. They're definitely not controlling the whole planets, but they are manipulating. They are definitely manipulating. Yeah, I agree with this. The bat time should have been a wake-up call for everybody because the system showed you exactly who they are through a Republican administration and a Democrat administration. Yeah, Fat Bob says, I heard twice from Paul Craig Roberts that Iran still has a chance to take out aardvark land forever, and yet the beat goes on. I added that part, but yeah. So it's looking like at the very top levels, they're all working together, all of these governments. Trump's selling out America, doing a soft power transfer to the east, to Russia and China right now. That's what's happening. Okay, we have reported on it extensively here at Weaponized News. That's what's happening. Would Max say, isn't Abby Martin a Russian drug addict? I don't think so. Maybe she's smeared that way. She's American, I'm pretty sure. PDF Trump Steam files. This guy knows about it. They probably censored this guy. That's literally, I mean, come on. We got to come up with a new language here to even communicate. It's amazing. This is America, where you got to speak in freaking secret code to not be censored and offend the sensitive sensibilities of whoever's out there offended. That's propaganda. It is propaganda, but you don't think they're doing it? It is propaganda. They are handing out AKs to housewives. They like you to believe that. It says, oh yeah, German World War II. Well, it's all throughout history of the aardvarks getting kicked out of countries, all of our known history because of their Talmudic satanic behavior. Denver says, so the West set up IMEC as a counter to Belt and Road Initiative, predicated on great regional diplomacy, basically threw it together, big meetings of dignitaries, and then October 7th happened, which Aardvark land did themselves, yeah, in large part. In large part. I'm not even here to hate on the Aardvarks, man. I'm telling you guys. They're being scapegoated. You understand? There's a bigger game afoot, and they're allowed to go do all their Talmudic evil activities and genocide all these people and steal all that land because they're going to be scapegoated at the end of this thing. I wish they'd wake up. Or I wish they'd grow up and don't be the scapegoat. But here we are. Good night, Fat Bob. Quite a few trolls over there on the YouTube. Amazing. So, yeah, pretty amazing there. All right, friends, that's all I got for today. Let's pray for peace. Who knows? They could kick off Iran hot at any time. Everybody's fingers on the trigger. And that will only make things worse here now. As always, everybody do your own research. Peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Tuesday evening. Let's pray for peace, and we'll be back here on Wednesday for more.